Good day, everybody. Hope you're all doing well. It's the 48-hour analysis, and it's on a Sunday instead of a Saturday. Yes, because the Rustore rotation was delayed by a day, wasn't it? It was on the Friday instead of the Thursday. And because of that, there are repercussions. I've already mentioned it before, but I'll elaborate again. Basically, we will not see abnormal skins this week. They won't be appearing Wednesday night going into Thursday morning, depending where you are in the world. No, they're going to be appearing Thursday night going into Friday morning. However, because, and I've seen this before, I've got an example, it's perfect, don't worry. Basically, even the regular skins won't become marketable until Thursday night going to Friday morning, midnight UK time. Now, you might sit there and say, well, how are you so sure of this? I've seen it happen before, last year for Lunar New Year 2022. So if you can remember, for Rust Lunar New Year 2022, they delayed the skins by a day, and they released it on Friday. But what happened was, and it's so helpful that I kept this. There you go. Do you see midnight there? So this was the buy orders for when the Lunar New Year skins came out. Midnight. So yep, midnight. This is Thursday, midnight. The Rustore rotation happened. The skins have already rotated. No longer Lunar New Year skins, but yep, they all became marketable at the same time. So there was the Tiger Mask, there's the Sky Lantern, and then in a second you're also going to see the Tiger Garage Door. So yes, they all became available at the same time. All right, so basically just keep that in mind. All of these skins, all 9 of them, they're all going to appear marketable all at the same time. So we don't have abnormal buy orders to our advantage. Something that we're going to have to keep in mind. So we're going to now have to look at all of these skins now and figure out, right, what's looking like a good investment? What could potentially give us some delicious looking profits? Sounds good? Shall I jump straight in and start talking about the sheet metal door? Let's do it. Right, so sheet metal door, after 2 days, already around 24,000 sales. So, what we also have to keep in mind is, these skins technically only have 6 days in being available in the Rustore because of the delay. You know, I've said it enough. So technically speaking, we're probably not going to see as many sales as there possibly could have, but I still expect a lot of sales, because after 2 days, these are still selling like crazy. Like, this is still a ridiculous amount. 2 days, these sales. Okay, so the point is, we saw something very similar happen with the likes of the Stone Door. So yes, this resources collection that Freddy and Krueger are making, it's really developing into something. Technically speaking, this is a loose connection. It's not like a completely solid collection, but you get the idea. It's made by the same person, and it's all in reference to the resources that make the walls and whatnot. So this Stone Door, which we have a link of right here, right now it's selling for $4.92, or rather, it appears to be. Now, if you can remember, I talked about there's a fake fear of missing out manipulation going on, and this is something we should probably take into consideration with the likes of the sheet metal door, because this sold I'll show you. This sold 44,000 plus sales, and if we just scroll over, we can remember what happened at the very beginning. People buying out all of the stock during the first day or so, and it got pushed all the way up to $9, and then the very second the next day appeared and more people were able to sell their skins, it immediately went back down. But then after it went down for a while, people then bought out the stock again, it went back up, and then more people the next day were able to sell theirs, it goes back down, but then after that they get bought out again. Basically, over the past 2 or 3 weeks, it keeps going up, down, up, down, up, down. And you might sit there and say, oh, this is legit demand, this is real. I don't think so. I think people legit are trying to pump it up. Whenever it gets down to around $3, suddenly all of the stock gets bought out, and suddenly it shoots back up to about $4 or $5. So right now, that's already happened. I'll show you what happened 2 days ago in a second. But yeah, all of the bigger buy orders ends at around $3 here, and then it's all thin, and then you got all these extra buy orders here. So let me just show you what happened right around here, because again, this is still relevant to sheet metal door. Do you see how we have like the odd 1, 2, 5, 1, 4? Yep, there you go. Do you see how it just randomly jumps up? So 4, 1, 6, 6, 1, 6, 4, 23, 32, 34, 19. Yeah, suddenly this all gets bought out. Suddenly, it's now shot back up to $5. When it was around here, it was getting close to $3, less than $3. And then suddenly the buyouts start happening, and suddenly it shoots all the way back up. I don't know if this is legit demand or it's, again, a group of people trying to make it appear to be more valuable than what it actually is. By all accounts, with the amount of sales that happened, I would assume there would be oversaturation. But whenever it gets, heavily built up, on average, every Ruskin would have around 100 quantity. But I've seen this get close to 300, and I look again the next day, and suddenly it's lost half its quantity. Why? I'm clueless. I don't fully know what's going on. It's interesting to look at. But the point is, will the exact same thing happen to the sheet metal door? Will people do the exact same thing? Because, of course, the gimmick there is it lines up perfectly with stone walls, and loads of people will have a stone base at some point during the life cycle of their base. What will the same thing here happen in terms of, is there demand for a sheet metal door that lines up perfectly with the sheet metal walls, and so on and so forth? Will we see the exact same behaviour happening with this when this becomes marketable? I don't know. I'm very curious. But do you consider it a worthy of a risk to jump in, buy some of these, just so you can sell them as soon as you can, because some people potentially might manipulate this one as well? I don't want to rely on that, but I'm very curious to see what happens. So I've given you some strange context there, but all that happened with this, I'm a bit dumbfounded by. Because for a skin that sold so much, I'm very confused why people would want to manipulate it, but I'm definitely seeing signs of it being manipulated. So will the exact same thing happen with this? And if you bought like 10, 20 or 30 of them, would you like the idea of instantly selling them to a guy trying to pump it and double your money back? I don't know, we'll see. But just remember, we are expecting bad times just around the corner. I'm not sure if the likes of that stone door or this will hold up when bad times happen. And I'll explain more about that later on. So, for now, I personally might avoid it. I might only stick with a buy order. I'm curious to see how many sales we have over the course of the next few days. At the moment, I'm just not sure on it. So I'll move on to the next thing. Abyss Furnace. Right, so this right here looks awesome. Abyss Collection is definitely developing into a nice, interesting looking, deplorable collection. Basically, I wouldn't be surprised in the slightest if we do see some more Abyss skins being submitted and accepted. Like this sold over 37,000. After 2 days, this has already got 24,000. I'm pretty sure Little Ranger is going to be making some more. And I wouldn't be surprised in the slightest if Face Punch accepts them. Lots of sales, lots of profits. Who think of a good enough reason to say no. And if you want another bit of reassuring words, let me just point out to you and say, the first skin to be submitted with the Abyss collection wasn't the garage door, it was actually a sheet metal door. Now this was passed over. Face Punch didn't accept this, but they did accept the garage door. I wouldn't be surprised in the slightest if this gets a version 2 and all of the other possible doors end up getting skinned as well. So keep that in mind. This is very likely going to happen. It's looking very likely that we're going to see some more deplorable skins being made soon. And hey, maybe we'll see some weapon skins at some point in the future. Maybe we'll see some clothing and armor skins. That would look cool, wouldn't it? Would it keep the glow? I would like, for example, you might sit there and say, I'd like an AK. You know what? I would like an AK if it glowed the purple like this. You might sit there and say, but that'll give away my position. Well, you know what? I'd just like to see some more glow-in-the-dark weapons every now and then. Maybe I want to be seen. Maybe I want people trying to get me. I'm just saying, like, it would be a cool thing to have. And at the very least, he can make an option. He can make a version with and without glow, and we'll see what Face Punch likes more. But to really, match up with the whole theme of it all, I'd like to see an AK that glows, or other weapon skins that glow. You get the idea. So yeah, cool. So what's the best thing that we can refer to or reference with this? I did mention before the likes of the Dragonhorn collection, Dragonhorn Furnace. So if I just, you're going to see it around, where is it? If I scroll up a little bit, there it is, right. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go to its, I think, store? The week it came out. Because then I can easily show that this was part of a collection as well, deplorable collection to be precise, because Dragonhorn had a reasonable amount of skins in its collection, and, Not all of them are doing super great at the moment, but the main thing that I wanted to get across is this Dragonhorn furnace sold at the exact same price, $2.49, had just as much attention, over 40,000 sales, and this is a skin that's been out for 2 years. We can get a good idea how the Abyss furnace is likely going to behave simply by looking at how this behaved over the past 2 years. So it had a lot of sales. Right now, this is currently selling for $2.01. Remember, this was a $2.49 skin. I scroll down, I take a look at the history. So initially, it went up, 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 up. And then when bad times hit, it goes down. October time. Then post-Christmas appears, it goes up. Then throughout all of 2022, it goes down. And then post-Christmas appears, it goes up. So at its peak, this went up to about $5 here. It went up to about $4 to $4.50 here. And the most recent post-Christmas, it went up to about $3.50, $4 here. So gradually over time, it has been kind of deprecating. And again, 246 on the market. Oh dear. In terms of resistance, not that much, to be honest. It's not really there. But yeah, there is still a lot of them on the Steam market. So, with what we saw happen to this, could we see happen to the likes of our Abyss furnace right here? Probably. But at the very least, when good times appear, wouldn't be surprised in the slightest that this goes above its restore price. So if you're comfortable with that, by all means, buy it. I should also say, you know, if you like the look of these skins, buy it. Use it, enjoy it, support the skin creators. We're looking at these skins with a financial perspective, but if you generally like the skin and want to use it, by all means, buy it, use it, enjoy it, and support the skin creator. Motivate them to make more. You get the idea. It helps them, and you get to have a skin that you enjoy. So, simple as. So, very nice, but in terms of financial perspective, I look at this and I think, I need to keep an eye on how many sell, and then get a good idea if it's looking to be okay to jump in and do a buy order, or actually do a purchase. But yeah, I meant to say purchase instead of buy order. I kind of messed up there. What I meant to say was, is it looking good to actually go ahead and do a purchase, or should I just stick with buy orders? That's what I meant to say. Sorry about that. Got a little mixed up there. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we see some more deplorables appearing in the future. I wouldn't be surprised if this does well when times are good. It looks very cool. Probably one of the best looking furnaces that we've ever seen being accepted. So I do see a good possible future for it. But, you know, even look at the garage door, for example. It is in a positive, but only slightly, right? And pretty much all of the garage doors that came out this year are struggling. So keep that in mind. So potential positives, but is it worth the risk? Are you going to jump in and buy some? By all means, go for it, you know. So yeah, cool. Now we've got the Fireflies Sleeping Bag. Now, the first thing that I noticed, of course, is it glows in the dark. We did show that off in the Saturday Skin Showcase, and the point I want to get across with this is, basically, what we saw with the 2022 Sleeping Bag skins was we had a decent amount of them that glowed in the dark, and the straight reference that I had was these two skins. These glow in the dark, these were set, so this sold for $2.49, this sold for $1.99, this had almost 25,000 sales, this had over 15,000 sales, and see this? This is now slightly above its restore price, and this is, yeah, same thing. But the main point I mentioned with the likes of these two is in general, glow-in-the-dark sleeping bags are very useful for indoors, not for outdoors. People will see your sleeping bag at night and destroy it. But indoors, very helpful. Why? Technically speaking, pay to win, because in the early stages of your base, you know, you might not even have electricity, you might not even have a light source. However, glow-in-the-dark deplorables, very, very, very beneficial, because you will be able to navigate around your base without the need of a light source, because you can just see where the deplorables are situated, and you'd know by then where everything is, and you'd be able to walk around and, you know, you'd know how everything is. They don't emit a light source, but because they glow, you would be able to coordinate yourself around your base simply because you can see them, and yeah, you get the idea. So, stuff like that, very nice, and people do like that a lot. So with the likes of this, what happened to it over the past year? Well, it came out, kind of went up a little bit gradually, then it didn't really go down that much either. That's the main thing that I want to get across. The demand kept its up, and when times are bad, it did go down a bit, but it didn't go down that much. Like, at its worst here, it went down to about $2.20. It did go below its restore price, but not by much. And when times were good again, well, you know, the most recent post-Christmas that we had, this was selling for about $4.50. So it went up by it doubled in price. Do you get what I mean? So this right here, very nice, very helpful. So will loads of people think the same in regards to this? Well, I'll be honest with you, kind of wouldn't be surprised if this does all right during the good times. Again, you have to take into consideration this. I wouldn't be surprised if this does go below its rust ore price. Bad times are ahead of us. And, we're still early into 2023, all right? So keep in mind of that. I'm going to sit here and say, you could do a very solid buy order, and I wouldn't be surprised if you are successful in buying these. When times are very good again, whether it's at some point in the summer, much like last year, August was a good time, or, post-Christmas, 2024, January 2024, it's a bit of a long wait, but if you had to buy something, wouldn't be bad to buy. But yeah, in the long term, that should be fine. But it's probably going to struggle in the short term, and there's a very good reason why, and I'm building up to it. So when we're finished talking about all of these skins, I'll talk about the potential bad things ahead of us. All right, so it'll be all right during the good times, but I wouldn't be surprised if it goes below its rust ore price. So I'm sticking with the buy order. Now we've got the Frog Cosplay Tier 2. So we had the arrival of the Tier 2, and what happened immediately was the hoodie and the pants, the already existing core pieces. Remember, core pieces being hoodie, pants, kilt, and Tier 3, the optimal best clothing and armor that you can wear for a set. Now, basically, out of all of this Tier 2, we mainly care about the kilt. Based on what I just said, it's the most useful thing because that's what's needed for the proper, complete best set. So anyway, this was accepted. These shot up in price, and we'll quickly show that to you. So what basically happened with the likes of these two is, and you saw it in my rust ore rotation, there was a big sell wall. There was big resistance. There was a massive obstacle, and that caused it to not really go up in price that much. Evidently, it looks like it's now disappeared, so it looks like the price could go up very nicely. But the main point that I wanted to get across was, if you do see massive sale walls, of course these aren't going to go up in price that much. Now, the second thing that we need to be aware of, how many sales will this likely have by the end of the current, rust ore rotation that this is? Because the main thing that we need to be smart with is how many will this sell in comparison to the hoodie and the pants. Both of these had just over 22,000 sales. Right now, this is at 14,000 sales. Will this surpass that? And if it does, by how much will it be? Because if you can remember, we very recently had the likes of the Elite Crate hoodie and pants that came after Elite Crate Tier 3. And this is negative. Why is it negative already? There's one very good solid reason. Elite Crate Tier 3 only had about 16,000 sales each. And then these two, well, they had 29,000 plus. So think like this, in terms of absolute full complete collections based on the core pieces, there can only be about 16,000. That would mean there's 13,000 excess skins of these two in comparison to these, so more of these will be appearing on the Steam market and third-party sites. That is why these are already going below their rust ore price. But these are going to be perfectly fine because, there's a lot less of them in comparison to these. So, yeah, there's going to be more demand, and there's a lot less quantity to go around for it. But because this has so much excess stock, demand versus quantity, if it's too high, then you've got that excess stock there that's going to be appearing everywhere. So you get the idea. This is now struggling. So we need to hope that this does not happen to the likes of our Frog Cosplay. And oh yeah, it's gone up now. Cool. So yeah, Frog Cosplay, we need to keep an eye on the amount of sales. We need to keep it in reference to the Frog Cosplay hoodie and pants. And if it does stay well aligned, then that should be totally fine. Because there is one more thing that we must point out, a positive. We did see Frog Cosplay Tier 3 be submitted back in January. It wasn't accepted, but again, I wouldn't be surprised if we do get a version 2. Kind of wouldn't be surprised if it gets accepted as well in the future, so that's something for us to look forward to. Emilio Frito, let's wait and see if you make Frog Cosplay Tier 3 version 2, and yeah, if it does appear, we'll have to cross our fingers, hope it does get accepted, and eventually we very likely will see a complete set of Frog Cosplay, and I'm pretty sure a lot of you will be very happy about that. So again, when a new core piece appears, the pre-existing core pieces will jump up and spike in demand and spike in price. That's already happened to these two. It could happen to the kilt. Now you might sit there and say, what about the vest and the helmet? Vest and the helmet aren't as important, but usually, and this has happened before, if they get neglected a lot, they end up becoming quite valuable. If the whole set itself becomes very valuable, these become very pricey because there usually tends to be a lot less of them. However, with the amount of sales, they're still very well lined up with this, so I guess by default these won't really be super great. We mainly care about the kilt, so yeah, kilt is what I'm mainly focused on. I want to see how many sales happen. If we do go over 22,000, I'd rather just stick with a buy order. So that's my main point. With these two, I do a buy order, but not a very strong one compared to the likes of this. So yeah, point made. Cool. Right. So, oh, oh, you got a little sneaky look at something there. I was working on something. Well, don't worry about that. The one thing I wanted to quickly move on to, and I need to bring this up. Don't talk, Hedge. Okay, so one thing that I wanted to show you was my skin checks that I did earlier this week, because every week I take a look at all of the newest skin submissions, and during this week we saw lots of rug skin submissions, but the main thing I want to get across was we got a lot of rugs that were intended to be decorations that you put on your wall. So, what I'm saying is, this is the first rug skin that I've seen. Well, actually, you'd have to take a look at all of them first real quickly just to be doubly sure. Yep. So this is the first rug skin where its main intention for usage is, well, it's supposed to be like that. You put it on your ceiling, you put it on your walls, and you make your base look as if it's, you know, it really does need a bit of decoration, if you get what I mean. But what I'm saying is what we have right here is perhaps maybe the start of something where we're going to see a whole lot more of them. This is special and this is unique. This is a rug that, as I said, is meant to be treated like a decoration that you put in your wall. And the main thing that I wanted to bring up, oops, didn't mean to show that. The main thing that I wanted to bring up to you lot is that I wouldn't be surprised if we're going to see a whole lot more of them appearing now. If that got accepted, I wonder what else we might see, you know? I did make the joke for a long time that Stepan should make a rug with his dungeon collection, because then we could make our base look like it's a dungeon by just planting rugs all along the walls, or, you know, like the catacombs and whatnot. You get the idea. So there's a lot of collections that could really benefit from something like that, and I wouldn't be surprised if we do start seeing a whole lot more of them in the future. So is this going to be special and unique forever, or will we see a whole lot more of them, and will this lose that uniqueness? I don't know. However, the main points that need to be addressed are, we tend to only see on average 2 rug skins accepted every year. And it's you know, halfway through, no, well, almost the end of March, and we've already got 2. So just to reiterate that point, on average we tend to only see 2 rug skins accepted every year, and we've already got 2. And with a lot of submissions for rug skins recently, I kind of wouldn't be surprised if we end up seeing some more being accepted this year. So be cautious about that. Yes, this is a $2.49 rug. It's only sold 11,000 so far. You might say only only 11,000, but that could easily mean we probably will reach around 20,000 sales in total. Be cautious. Again, it's the question: who will really want to actually go ahead and use this? Think like that. Think based around that. How many people are actually going to want to utilize this, or are they just going to treat it like a rug? Like, I kind of get the feeling it might not be that special in the grand scheme of things. I am a bit worried, and when I'm worried, I'd rather just do a buy order. That's what usually is my answer. But this is awkward. Because rugs, when times are good, all rugs go up in price. Like, look at that. Because there's hardly any of them. Most of them are in the positive. But yeah, we recently had the likes of the Heart Rug that had 40,000 plus sales. That's immediately struggling. Had a very fun gimmick to it, but yeah, that's struggling. We're not going to have 40,000 sales of this, but I do look at it, and I do look at it with caution, because yes, how many people are actually going to want it? How many people are actually going to want to use it? And we do have some bad times ahead of us, so I might just stick with a buy order on that. Makes sense? Right, all good. So, The next thing that I want to address is the Lunar Thompson. It's a Thompson skin. I really do approve of Thompson skins. The main point that I want to get across is basically Thompsons, we don't have many of them in terms of skins. We only have about, 30? 30. Yeah, there you go. 30 Thompson skins. Now, Thompsons, very well liked in Rust, I'm sure. Yeah, they have very high gun demand. A lot of people like to use them. They're very reliable. The resources to get them, not too bad. And you get the idea. There's a very high amount of gun demand for this. Loads of people will be using it in the game, and therefore with a high gun demand equals a high demand to use skins, which of course leads to higher skin prices. Now, 2 months ago, when we're in the height of post-Christmas, all of these skins were in the positive. You've got some ever so slightly in the negative at the moment, but the main point I want to get across is all of these 2022 skins that you see here, right? On average, all of them were above $5. And that is what I expect for the likes of these two. Maybe this one not so much, but the main point I want to get across is I have bought 150 of these. I'm in a situation with one of my accounts where I have a buy order on the newest CSGO case, and it's basically printing money, but I have to constantly buy things just so I can keep selling the cases while they're still at a higher price. And I looked at that and I thought, you know what? In terms of long term, if I bought 150 of them, I'd be alright with that. And why? Because I know when we hit post-Christmas time again, well, at the beginning of next year, I know I could probably sell those for about $5 each, plus, double my money, basically. I want to treat it more in the tune of it being a bond, so it retains the value, the money that I need to save, I guess you know what I mean. But I have a very strong and confident feeling that I will buy them, and later on down the line, I'll easily sell them for a very lucrative profit, basically. So, Thompson skins, as I have mentioned and pretty much established, they tend to be very reliable skins that hold their value, and when times are good, they go up very comfortably, because when we see loads more people playing the game, so as you can see here, January, February, we had very nice peak player counts. We have very nice average player counts. Loads of people like to pick up those Thompson skins, and they like to run around with their Thompsons. And this is routine. Like, as I've said, we're starting to see the slow decline in average player count and peak player count. This is fine. We're reaching normality. As you can see, player count averages tend to be around 70,000 to 80,000, and the peak player counts tend to go up to about 130,000 something. Unless there's like a very interesting update that comes out. That was the recall update. That's, yeah. And also, let's also hope there isn't another recall update. I don't want to worry about my Thompson skins. If they change the Thompson, oh dear. And basically, that unfortunately happened to the MP5, didn't it? That got tweaked, and then it was ruined. Its gun demand just went, and the demand to use the skins went, and the prices of the MP5 skins went, so... yeah. But yep, just to give you that point I was trying to establish, very nice average player count in the beginning of January 2022, up to, yeah. And then the peak player counts were very nice as well. So, point made, this is routine. Don't worry if prices start to get cheap now. It's all routine, patterns, normal, you get it there. So yeah, cool. So yeah, I needed to spend money, and this was a skin that I feel very comfortable in buying, knowing at the very least it will retain its value. So very nice, very cool. And now we've got an AK-47 skin. So let me just point out my main concerns are the fact that it's an AK-47 skin. The issue is that, well, this, in the past 6 weeks, we've had 6 AK skins accepted. 6 weeks in a row. We are so far we've had 11 Rust rotations. We've had 9 AK-47 skins accepted in 2023. So 11 rotations, 9 AK acceptances. Yeah, so you could probably understand half the problem here. We get far too many of them being accepted. On average, it would be every other week, but so far this year, it's expected to be every week, pretty much. We have far too many skins. We see them far too frequently, and there's like literally no room for them to grow. Far too many new ones come out. So, and people tend to not be very people tend to get the new one. So they dump the old one, get the new one. And next week there's another new one, so they dump the old one, get the new one. You get the idea. So yeah, AK-47 skins in general tend to not be very reliable investments. Point made, and it's very easy to see. So yeah, that's a 70 cent to 90 cent buy order, unfortunately. But yeah, that's what happens when we have far too many of them being accepted in such a small amount of time. And overall, there's just far too many of them to choose from. So Okay, so I've talked about all of the skins. So far, at the moment, I'm interested in these two, but I want to see their behavior mainly. That's what I'm mainly concerned about. In terms of buy orders, I think these two would be perfectly solid. This should be okay, but I'd rather do a buy order. I'm thinking this might be more of a buy order situation because we've got a few more days left, and I wouldn't be surprised if we go over 22,000. Thompson, I will do a very strong buy order on. I wouldn't be surprised if it goes below its rust or price at some point this year, but not by a lot at the very least. And I know it will easily bounce back up when prices and when the good times hit again. And when all rust skin prices bounce back up, this will be perfectly fine. I know it will. So, and I am curious to see what happens with this. But at the moment, the only real main thing that I felt confident in buying was this, but more about a long-term purchase. So, cool. So what are the bad things that are ahead of us? What is the cause for concern? So number one, we have another CSGO major just around the corner. Last year, at around the exact same time, we had Antwerp 2022. And when that hit, with all of its new stickers, sticker capsules, autograph stickers, souvenir packages, viewer passes, you get the idea. That caused a lot of people to liquidate their rust skins and put it towards CSGO instead. And the exact same thing is about to happen. Like, the whole routine is about to play out all over again. So keep an eye out for this, because this is happening in about 6 weeks' time. Starts at the very beginning of May, the 8th of May. Throughout May 2023, we're going to have the Paris Major and CSGO. So that was the main thing to be concerned about. Then there's also Source 2. So recently, there has been... it's like an open secret. CSGO is about to get a very nice upgrade, and a lot of people have been playing CSGO. Just very recently, we just peaked over 1.4 million players. When the actual update comes out, when Source 2 comes out for CSGO, or whether it's going to still remain CSGO or CSGO 2 or CS2, we don't know yet. I wouldn't be surprised if we break this record, go over 1.5 million, and with that, with loads of people focusing CSGO rather than all of the other skins on Steam, I get the feeling Rust likely will suffer. And of course, the Rust economy will suffer. Less people playing Rust would obviously have a very bad impact. However, if you have your funds nice and ready, then you would know that that's a great time to buy in, because when prices hit rock bottom, you jump in, you buy out a whole bunch of stock, you wait for the good times again, and then you start selling it all and you make great profits. Now, as I said, with the declining average player count and the declining peak player count, this is routine. I've seen it happen many times throughout all of the past few years. Technically speaking, overall, Rust's player count is increasing, and I have seen this. It's looking perfectly fine. Don't be concerned about this. Just know how the routine tends to play out. And you know what? One of the best things that I could show you is to take a look at the likes of, let's say, Dragon Rage Kilt. And why the Dragon Rage Kilt? Well, this was the final piece to be accepted in the Dragon Rage collection. But the main special thing was this came out at the very beginning of May when the Antwerp Major came out last year. So you can see how this behaved. So yeah, this was part of an established collection. It was technically speaking a budget blackout collection. And look how this has performed throughout the past year as of May 2022. It went down. It perked up for August, and then it went down as we got closer to October, and then it happily went all the way back up as we hit post-Christmas time. So yeah, this is something where I look at this and I can see, you can pretty much see how it all played out. Now, it wasn't just the CSGO Major, you've also got to be aware of the likes of the summer sale. People will liquidate their skins to get funds to then, buy cheap games. I should also point out, we're currently going through... well, we've got spring sale at the moment, don't we? And I thought this would have a negative impact. I don't think I've seen that much of a difference, I guess you could say. But, yeah, like, summer sale would be a whole lot more notable is the main thing. So, yeah, that's just how it is. So, yeah, I feel like the whole routine that we saw last year is about to replay. And if you learn from that, you'll know how things will likely roll out. And, yeah, you get the idea. So... CSGO is going to be getting a whole lot of attention soon, and yeah, we're just going to have to accept that. So don't worry too much. you know, look for an opportunity, keep an eye on prices. Maybe we're just going to only focus doing buy orders from here on now. That very likely will be a situation that's going to happen. But yeah, we're technically in the normal times, I guess you could say. Prices seem to be normal, but soon we're going to start seeing them go down, and that's when we're going to start worrying. But don't worry too much. It's normal. It just probably isn't going to be the best time to sell skins. More rather better to buy skins. And yeah, I already established that. So hope you have a good one. See you all later and have a lovely week. Let's see what comes out next week, and let's see how all of these skins play out. And I should point out, looks like I'm going to be doing a pretty big stream on Thursday, because I now have to watch the new Rustore rotation come out, and then I have to wait until midnight to do the buy orders and all of these skins as they become marketable. So yeah, ain't that fun. But yeah, just to reiterate, abnormals are broken. All skins will become marketable at the same time, and it will be midnight UK time, Thursday evening going into Friday morning, 00 Friday morning UK time. I'll be on stream. My links are in the description, so if you're watching me on YouTube, look in the description, you'll see my Twitch link. Every Thursday I watch the Rustore rotations, and yeah, you get the idea. So, very nice, very cool. Catch you all later. Have a lovely week. And yeah, what are you going to buy? Feel free to comment. Say what you're going to do. So, yeah, see ya.